Hello and welcome to the next in our series of Yarn Down Make Along with Emma. This one is actually a little bit different and it's the start of a new series of videos that I'm going to do showing you how to actually do different techniques. And this is a technique that's used in the Blanket of Hope to join the granny squares as you go. So instead of making lots of individual granny squares, you'll join your granny squares as you go and your blanket will grow quite quickly. Once you start joining granny squares like this, promise me you won't do it any other way, because your project just grows so quickly and it's really satisfying. So the pattern that we've used in the Blanket of Hope uses the classic granny square, which is a separate video. If you're new to granny squares, there's a separate video make along in the week of granny squares, which will show you how to actually make a granny square. Okay, so this pattern, you make the first granny square and then the second granny square, you do the first 2 rounds of your granny square in exactly the same way as your first granny square, and that's when it changes a little bit. So I've done my first 2 rounds on this one and I'm going to show you how to join it onto the first granny square. I'm using Barbara and Hope here joined together double, which just makes such beautiful colours, which I think lots of you have absolutely loved, the Blanket of Hope, and it really does make a lovely squishy colourful blanket. So I've done my first 2 rounds of my granny square and I'm now going to start the next round. So start by chaining 5, starting exactly the same as the round of the granny square before, so there's nothing different yet, so nothing new. So do my 3 trebles, chain 3 trebles in that space there, and when we get to the first corner, that's when we do go a little bit differently. So we do 3 trebles into there. I'll just show you I've got 2. So that's my first granny square. This is my second one. So I've done my chain 5, and then I've done 3 lots of trebles, 3 lots of 3 lots of trebles, 3 lots of 3, if that makes sense. So I've got to that corner, okay, and I'm going to join it onto my square next to it. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch, okay, into this next corner. So normally in a corner we do 2 chains. When you're doing the join as you go technique, you do 1 chain, okay, then I'm going to slip stitch into the corresponding corner there instead of doing my 2 chains. So slip stitch it there like that, okay. Then I'm going to do 3 trebles into this corner to complete the corner. Oops, my hook's come out. It's okay, pop it back in. So do my 3 trebles. Okay, and then normally we do 1 chain and then we do 3 trebles into the next chain space the round before. But instead of doing the chain, we're going to slip stitch into the next chain space of the first square and 3 trebles. Just turn that round like that so you can have a look. Okay, so first corner is joined with a slip stitch in here. I've done my 3 trebles, then I've done a slip stitch into the corresponding chain space on the square 1, then I've done my 3 trebles, okay, so then I'm going to slip stitch into this space here, do my 3 trebles, so I've almost done the joining side, of the second square. Okay, so you can see where we're up to. Okay, and then we're going to join into this corner here. So we're going to do that by doing one chain. So normally you'd have 2 chains in the corner. I'm going to slip stitch into the corner space and then complete that corner with 3 trebles. Okay, so the first side was done and then the second side was joined onto the first square, and then all you need to do to complete the square is to go along that side and go along the finishing side, and your 2 squares are very nice and neatly joined together. So you can see how your project might grow really quite quickly. So instead of doing chains in between your groups of trebles on the joining sides, you slip stitch into the square next to it. So the pattern is on our website to download, and there's a photo tutorial along with it. So there are lots of pictures to show you the different stages of how it actually comes together. But hopefully you found this video, just a very short one, whoops, talking not concentrating, helpful alongside the instructions. Okay, so that's the end of that square. It's just ready to fasten off. And then you've got 2 squares joined together. Okay, and that is a very simple join as you go method of joining granny squares together, which, trust me, is a game changer.